September 28th every year is observed as the birth anniversary of the famous freedom fighter Bhagat Singh, and likewise, even this year we celebrated the birth anniversary of the famous Bhagat Singh. And this particular video is dedicated to understand about this freedom fighter in detail. And once again, welcome back to Believers IAS Academy. In this today's topic of the day discussion, we will try and understand everything about Bhagat Singh, a revolutionary icon of India's freedom struggle, who brought about a change in how the freedom struggle took place, or how the international freedom movement evolved once after the emergence of Bhagat Singh that India saw. So even before that, let's understand about the early life and influences of this famous personality. He was born on September 28th, 1907 in Punjab, in the Bhangar region, which is present day Pakistan. He finished most of his schooling, everything in Lahore, right? And his father, Kishan Singh, and his uncle Ajit Singh were also freedom fighters, and Ajit Singh was famously associated with one of the important international freedom movement party, which is the Gadar party, which was established in the year 1913, not in India but in San Francisco. So it was an organization of all the Indian immigrants in San Francisco against the tyranny of the British rule. And this immigrants included people from the Hindu community, the Sikhs, and also Muslims. So the major agenda of the Gadar party was to create awareness amongst the people and spread the idea of revolution, especially the secular revolution, amongst the people. And the Gadar party is also famous for its weekly named Gadar itself, right? Means revolution, which started spreading the awareness about the revolution and the extremities of the British province, or let's say British government in the India. So his uncle Ajit Singh was an associate in the Gadar party, which influenced Bhagat Singh's political thinking. Not just that, the famous Jallianwala Bagh massacre, which happened in the year 1919, left a profound impression on him at the age of 12. So all those events, some of the important events, one most importantly is the Jallianwala Bagh massacre, not just in Bhagat Singh's life but also the turning point. This is considered to be a turning point in the entire Indian national freedom movement. Considering what happened in Jallianwala Bagh massacre, it left a profound impression on him at the age of 12, instilling anger against the British rule. So what happened in Jallianwala Bagh massacre? So a peaceful gathering was held on the Baisakhi day, and this protest, in fact it was a peaceful protest against the famous Rowlatt Act, which was also released or launched in the very same year. So what was this Rowlatt Act? Basically, it gave exceptional powers to the British officials to not just imprison Indian freedom fighters, but also take into their custody even without trial, right? So this was kind of very extreme back then, that people were simply nagged and they were detained even without proper trial or proper warrant, right? So this was one of the contention point for all the people who assembled on that Baisakhi day, right, for a peaceful protest. And that's when the famous General Dyer announced his troops to go full on against these people who were protesting. And as per the records, it states that more than 379 people were dead on that very same moment, and more than 1200 to 1500 people were actually injured, right? So this completely was a turning point in the entire international freedom movement. And this is when, after this, it even paved way for the Gandhiji to launch its non-cooperation movement as well, right? So that is the importance of the Jallianwala Bagh massacre, and also that was one of the turning point for Bhagat Singh to see how the national movement, or the inclination with which the national movement was heading towards, and this was the instance which instilled anger and that rage against the British rule. Also, he studied at National College, Lahore, founded by Lala Lajpat Rai, where he was exposed to revolutionary and Swadeshi ideas. So it's always about the roots, the background, and the atmosphere where you come from. Definitely, has a profound effect in how personality of a person is being changed. So this is Bhagat Singh, as we all know. Moving forward, talking about his revolutionary politics, there are few important organizations that is very important to keep in mind. The first one is the HRA, famously the Hindustan Republic Association, which was launched in the year 1924. In fact, this was established on the failure of the non-cooperation movement, and the main ideology of the Hindustan Republic Association was to bring an armed rebellion, right? So this was something very contrasting to the non-cooperation movement. So here they wanted to fight for the nation through armed rebellion, right? And also they wanted to create a federal structure, which governs equality, right? And on the pretty much on the socialist grounds, right? And in fact, this is also the very instance. In fact, HRA is one of the organization which even backed the Kakori train incident, right? So armed rebellion, Kakori train incident. So I think the bells are ringing, right? So Bhagat Singh, he joined in the year 1924 for the HRA, and later HRA reorganized as Hindustan Socialist Republic Association in the year 1928, and he also founded the Naujawan Bharat Sabha in 1926, especially to mobilize youth against the colonial rule. And he also participated in the Central Legislative Assembly bombing in the year 1929, which actually kind of was the dead end. In fact, this was one of the reason and one of the biggest advantage for the Britishers, which they encashed after when Bhagat Singh was nagged when he bombed the Central Legislative Assembly. And this act which Bhagat Singh did, in fact, on the other hand, was also symbolic. It was a symbolic act using low intensity bombs and pamphlets to protest repressive bills, especially the Public Safety Bill and the Trade Dispute Bill. So basically, this act of Bhagat Singh and his teams were considered to be a symbolic act for the rest of the people, especially the youth, to show them that this is what the actual revolution is, and these are our enemies, and the enemies needs to be treated the way they are supposed to be treated. And this was also one of the initiation, right? In fact, criticisms are also there with respect to how this was initiated, but the thing is, the bombs that they used were mostly low intensity, hoping that, and they had pre-planned that in a way that these bombs will not cause any destruction, huge destruction to the people, but just a symbolic act, right? In fact, this was the very reason. And after this, right, the involvement in the Lahore Conspiracy Case in 1928, the planned assassination of J.P. Saunders to avenge Lala Lajpat Rai's death. So he was the one who participated in all of these things. And in fact, this plays a very important point to understand how the political or the revolutionary dimensions of Bhagat Singh took place, right? So one is the bombing in the Legislative Assembly, another one is the Lahore Conspiracy Case, where he involved in the killing or the assassination of the J.P. Saunders, right, who avenged, in order to avenge his guru Lala Lajpat Rai's death. And moving forward, talking about the trial and execution, famous personalities, Bhagat Singh along with Rajguru and Sukhdev were tried under the Lahore Conspiracy Case, and despite international appeals for clemency, they were executed on 23rd March 1931, which even till date is observed as the Martyr's Day, right? And this execution turned him into a martyr Shaheed-e-Azam, galvanizing India's youth and intensifying the struggle against the colonial rule. Now, talking about the ideology and the intellectual legacy, he was a socialist and a rationalist, was inspired by Marx, Lenin, even Trotsky and Bakunin, and he advocated atheism, as in he was not believing in God, right? And also was advocating rational thought in his essay Why I Am an Atheist. His writings were very famous, especially which appeared in the newspapers like Kirti, Veer, Arjun, and others, right? And also, he believed that political freedom must be accompanied with social and economic justice. So, these were all the ideology and the intellectual thinking, thought process, intellectual thought of Bhagat Singh. And from the examination point of view, this is very important to understand, right? From the analytical significance of this personality, Bhagat Singh. One is from the political dimension. This is that period of the Indian national freedom movement when Bhagat Singh was involved, that he shifted the entire momentum of the India's freedom struggle from the moderate phase to the assertive phase, assertive revolutionary actionary phase, which inspired a lot of young population, especially the youths. Then from the intellectual contribution, unlike many revolutionaries, other revolutionaries which were there, his deep ideological engagement with socialism and rationalism, and also being an atheist, right? He positioned himself as a thinker and not just a fighter. Next, in terms of symbolism, his martyrdom, right, created a unifying emotional force to the youths of the country, especially the young youths, which almost bridge the urban and rural gaps. In fact, people from all the backgrounds, right, urban, rural, youth to elder, class divides, everything united, and this was one of the movement which unified all the classes of India. And talking about the criticisms, as we discussed, some historians still argue that the violent methods which were used by Bhagat Singh or his other freedom fighters, and also the HRA and all of the other associations, were pretty much alienating the mass support. However, his symbolic acts, Bhagat Singh's symbolic acts, especially the bombing and the assemblies, right, were deliberately designed in a manner to avoid any catastrophic casualties, also to at the same time to show political maturity, right? So this is all with respect to Bhagat Singh. In fact, this video is definitely not going to completely cover the importance of the person who bled for the country, right, who sacrificed and who died very at the age of 23, so young, right, to sacrifice himself for the country. Of course, this video is not at all sufficient, but still from the examination point of view, this is more than sufficient to require. So in the end, it is important to remember that Bhagat Singh was not just a freedom fighter or a martyr of India's independence, but a revolutionary who was intellectually very strong and who also combined courage, ideology, and vision. His life and writings continue to inspire debates even today in terms of how justice is seen, how equality is understood, and how nationalism is being seen in the country, right? So his sacrifice, as we discussed, in the very young age of 23 years, is kind of very astonishing and very motivating for the young youths, and is one of the strongest pillars of India's anti-colonial movements. So that is all for this particular video. Let's solve one prelims question and end the video for today. Consider the following statements about Bhagat Singh. He founded the HSRA, that is Hindustan Socialist Republic Association, in 1924. He threw bombs in the Central Legislative Assembly in protest against the Public Safety Bill and the Trade Disputes Bill. He coined the slogan Inqilab Zindabad, which became popular in India's freedom struggle. Use the comment section, leave your answers below. Anyway, that's all for this particular video. Signing off, this is Madan Gopal. Have a beautiful day.